the differences are in your corner, and you need an advantage from a different corner. So there has to be like a meeting of the minds, but in order for minds to meet, somebody has to be silent part of the time, and somebody else has to actively make a point. And before that point is ended, if the other person starts talking and is angry, there's usually not going to be a resolution, and you'll leave in the very same condition that you came. So I'm just saying that part of the solution end of things is also realizing that there are some systemic things in people's heart that has to really be allowed to be put on the table before the solutions that are posed as ideas and theologies or theories will actually work. You know, everything sounds good up front. This is a wonderful forum, Emmanuel, thank you. Very progressive, forward-moving, and everyone in the community is ready for change, but some of the things that are systemic have to be dealt with. And I'd just like to talk about one of those things. When you go home, look up supportequityfirst.org. And this is one of the most pervasive snatch and grabs in education that has existed since 1991, that has produced the underfunding situations in our schools. Our school in particular is set to be underfunded by anywhere from 11 to 19 million. But I'm out there advocating for schools like Reading that are 95 million under budget. In 1991, a policy was put into place called Hold Harmless. Hold Harmless is equal. This year, there will be $400 million on the table additional for education funding. If it goes through equal, Hold Harmless, 320 overfunded districts will remain overfunded, and the potential for 185 underfunded districts to remain underfunded will continue. This is injustice at its best. This is not a near majority of our legislature. It's a near unanimous, and we're right in it. So some of the individuals that I'm working with are wondering why these districts aren't red hot about the underfunding, about the Hold Harmless policy. And Representative David Parker has come up with a formula that says on a 3-to-1 ratio that through a Commonwealth vote, the overfunded school districts would get the one portion. They wouldn't go without, they wouldn't be sacrificing, but those who are underfunded will be getting a lion's share of distribution in a 3-to-1 ratio. This would stop the bleeding. This would allow underfunded districts, such as David Parker's district in particular, to go from $1,800 per student allotment from the state to $4,000. What could it do for Pottstown? What could it do for our property values? It could do a lot. It could do a lot. The Hold Harmless policy is sold to us silently and voted in near unanimously, and we haven't had our finger on it. But now our finger's on it. We know what's happening, so it's only up to us to push the envelope. And so I'm just letting you know, I've been at the mayor's conference. We've been talking about this. It's nothing nobody wants to touch because it's requiring people who are at an advantage to make a concession. But that's what it's all about, isn't it? You have an overfunded district just to remain overfunded while you see others going into very critical conditions of having to close. That's all I want to say right there. If you have any more questions, but supportequityfirst.org. And tomorrow is National Night Out. There's one at Victory Christian Life Center at King of Washington. There's one at
KCC on
Chestnut in Washington. And there's Trinity Church at Hanover and King. Usually First Church of the Brethren has one. So National Night Out is a law enforcement and community come together. Get to know your neighbors. If you're not oriented to coming to events, just knock on the house next door.